That sounds great. Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. Hi. This is different. Okay. How do I sound and look? Is it okay?
You sound and look beautiful.
Oh, that's your very good friend. Hello and welcome, one and all. I'm Shivan Sarna. I'm here with Evan Brand. Evan, you're recording, so I feel good about that. I'm on vacation, and Evan and I had such a hard time with our schedules trying to figure everything out that I didn't change this date because I didn't want to postpone it any longer. So we're going with the flow. We ran into a very bad traffic jam, and therefore I just made it in under the wire. I'm also holding my phone. So I'm going to let Evan take over in a second and do his presentation. I'll hide my camera and my mic, and then we will get started and I'll rejoin.
Cool. Sounds good.
If you don't, yeah, it sounds good. Okay. I'm going to take off my super crazy reflective glasses and say hello and welcome. So when I started Chronic Condition Rescue about 7 years ago, so many things were wrong with me. And one of the very first tests I took was the organic acids test, known as the OAT test. I also took a stool test, which I found thoroughly disgusting at the time. Now I'm like, no big deal, right? And I had a very special practitioner who I love to this day. She looked at it and she helped me. And it was information I would never have gotten without those tests. This is way before I met Dr. Seebecker, way back in the day, a long time ago. We didn't explore mold at the time, Evan. And that was really one of my big driving forces. And I wish that I had known then what I know now. And so why I have Evan here, who I call the third opinion guy, who you may know from his multi-million download podcast, and maybe other times that he's been here with us, is that Evan really is an expert in functional testing. He is an expert in stool testing. He's an expert in mold, in Lyme, in hormones, in sex drive, hello. And he's also an expert in the organic acids test. And he helps people in his practice. But what I also love about what Evan does is he teaches people how to interpret the tests and gives them protocols that they can work out, maybe with a practitioner, but certainly in many cases on their own. So this is not a substitute for Evan being your doctor, because he's not. It's not a substitute for you having, a specialist or anything like that. But what I love about the offerings that Evan has is that it empowers you. Like I have the old organic oat test, Evan, that I've been able to take the information you gave me and go back and look at them and go, oh, now I get it. And also certainly going forward as well. So with that being said, I'm going to hand things over to Evan. He has a beautiful presentation made for us, and I will be right back as soon as I get situated better. How does that sound?
Sounds great, Siobhan. And yeah, Karen, Siobhan is on vacation, so she is in a hotel because she just got there in a traffic jam. So yes,
Yes.
you are correct. There's a little bit of voice delay, but it's not terrible. And hopefully my connection sounds good. So let me know if this sounds good to you guys, if I look good today, if I sound good today. I hope so on both counts. And I went swimming this morning and put the snorkel on and tried to not get struck by lightning. So that was my morning, and I'm super thrilled to be with you all here. My three kids are luckily in summer camp, so I have peace and quiet. And I look forward to helping you all figure out what the heck we're going to do with you. So if you have issues with your mood, your energy, your libido, your sleep, your skin, any of that, autoimmune issues, bloating, burping, gas, irritability, you don't like your husband 2 weeks out of the month because your hormones are dysregulated, or maybe you don't like your husband ever, maybe I can help you with all of that today. And I've saved hundreds of marriages with functional medicine. And
Whoa. Okay.
yes,
Individual results will vary.
that's
Okay.
right.
All
That's
right. I'll
right.
see you in a sec.
All right. Yeah, which is true. But so Mosaic Lab, you all may be familiar with Great Plains Lab. So Mosaic bought them out in the past year or so. And Mosaic has paid me several times, which I'm very thankful for, the ability to teach doctors functional medicine, which kind of sounds crazy because I'm not a medical doctor. I'm board certified in holistic nutrition. I'm also an FNTP. And so I use functional medicine labs and nutrition and supplements to help people. Most people have been to 5 or 10 or 20 doctors before they call me and they say, hey, I've listened to your podcast, which has been out for 12 years, and I'm finally ready to do this thing. And we usually uncover things that they've never seen before. So I'm going to just jump straight into this presentation where I'm going to show you a little bit of behind the scenes of what I'm doing in my functional medicine practice. And then also we'll have the opportunity for you guys to get the cheapest price I've ever offered my functional medicine training course. We're going to be talking about it today at the end. And so hang out, don't miss it because it's kind of ridiculous what we're doing price wise. But I just want to help people out. And groceries are already twice as expensive as they were a few years ago. So if I can do my little good deed and give you the best price ever on a functional medicine training that can take your health back and your family's health back, then that's what I'm going to do. So let's jump in and have some fun. All right, so this is how to fix your gut, your mood, your energy for good. And this is a presentation that some of y'all may have seen before, but I try to tweak and add new lab tests and new content to it when I can. So let's jump in. We've got another cool thing about your home, which I'll talk to you about at the end. So today, you're in the right place if you want to find a solution to your health issues, but you're not really sure what your root causes are. Maybe your doctor has run some lab tests on you. Maybe it hasn't been very fruitful, or maybe they've done blood work on you and they say, hey, your blood looks fine, but you still have these symptoms. Maybe after getting the virus, or maybe you got this thing in your arm and you're having long-term reactions to that. I can help you figure out what we need to do in terms of your mitochondrial health, your neurotransmitters, your nutrient levels. All of that has been affected. So the last 5 years or so for me has been a whirlwind in the practice because of these new things that we didn't have 5 years ago. So that's how you know you're in the right place. Maybe you've already tried different supplements. You've heard other podcasts, webinars. You've bought this, what I call supplement graveyard. You've got this giant Tupperware in your pantry of random supplements. You don't know what the heck you're doing with them. And you're wasting your money while they're expiring. Maybe you've already been to functional medicine people or MDs that are supposed to help you and they let you down, but you haven't fixed your issues yet. Maybe you feel like you're not ever going to get better. You're just not sure where to turn and you don't really know how to make a protocol. What should you be doing? Is this a waste of your money? Is this not a waste of your money? Maybe you're just confused about what you have. You wish you could just feel better. You have more energy, get back to doing the things you love without having your symptoms. So I'm pumped you're here. I gave you a brief intro on me. We've hit 30 million downloads of my podcast now. Need to update that slide. Probably over 4,000 clients now. I started a full-time online functional medicine practice about a decade ago after solving my own issues. So I had parasites. I lost about 30 pounds without trying. I had anxiety. I had depression. I had skin issues. My wife had skin issues. And we ran functional medicine labs and figured out we had problems. We had imbalances in our gut. And so luckily we were able to fix ourselves. I ended up getting sick from mold. My wife and I built a nice house. We got sick from mold. I learned all about the gut connection and how the gut is connected to your brain and mold is affecting your gut. So we'll talk more about that later. But I really just love protocols to help people. And I see about 25 to 30 patients a week. And it's just amazing to see what kind of big dreams are really possible for people. People that had fertility issues that now have healthy babies. People that were unemployed that wanted to get back to work. We got their energy levels up to where they could work. You know, that's the kind of stuff we're trying to do. So I just hope that you can imagine being able to fix these issues once and for all. It sounds corny, but it really is possible. Even if you suffered for decades, you can turn things around. And so what I try to teach you is at-home testing and protocols. So if we want to fix something like a digestive, a skin, or a mood issue, what we have to do is we have to use these tools. So one of the tools is organic acids. Another tool is a mycotoxin screen, which is a urine test, so we can help you order. A GI map, which is the best stool test out right now, and mold plates. These are cheap, easy, and effective to look at your environment, your office, your home, your condo, your vacation home, your children's school, your grandchildren's school, grandchildren's home. These mold plates can give us a clue, and we can try to see if what we find in the environment matches the home. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And so if we want to achieve this goal, we have to find and fix these issues. It could be leaky gut. It could be mycotoxins, H. pylori, like what I had, parasites, which I had, candida, bacterial overgrowth. These are your root causes. But your conventional doctor, your neurologist, your psychologist, your psychiatrist, they're not going to test you for mold and tell you that's why you have anxiety. So I would say if you do this right, you can plan to improve about 5 to 10% each month. So if you're like, hey, my energy level 10's the best, I'm like a 2. I think we can get you to a 6 by the end of the year if we do this right. So secret strategy number 1, You got to get the proper at-home testing run. Maybe you've had a stool test before, but it wasn't a GI map. We got to get that done. Maybe you've done doctor's data or some of the competitors. Maybe you had an oat test, but it was 5 years ago. We need to get a new one. Maybe you've never even heard of mycotoxins in the urine. We got to do that. So that's step one. And really, what lab should you run based on your symptoms? Well, in the context of fatigue, mood issues, joint problems, autoimmune diseases, low libido, excess body fat, it's the same labs I'm telling you about, the OAT, the myco, the GI map. This is easy to do, and you're not going to go bankrupt trying to do it. And the question is, what is the first thing to fix? And that's where I think a lot of people go wrong. So you'll go to the naturopath, maybe they put you on a parasite cleanse, and you never even tested for parasites. We saw that last week. We had a woman come in. She said, "Hey, I'm just now finishing a parasite cleanse with my naturopath, but I think you're going to be able to help me better." I said, "Well, let me see your labs. I want to see what parasites you've had because there's specific herbs that treat certain bugs." Well, we had no testing. This was just a clinical diagnosis. She looked at me, she touched me, she did some muscle testing and said, "You have parasites. Buy this, whatever it was, $600 parasite cleanse." And that's a mistake. So I'm always going to show you and teach you what is the first thing to fix. Do you go for parasites first, or do you really need to support the adrenals? Do you work on the SIBO, or do you got to start trying to give some gut healing support first? And so the order of operations is really key, and that's where a lot of people mess it up. You can't just take scrambled pieces of the puzzle and then insert them at the wrong time. There's really a first, second, third order to all this. Because if you don't have a plan, your results are going to be pretty limited. If you have a targeted protocol, that's where you get real results. And this doesn't mean 20 supplements. This means like 5 to 7. So secret strategy number 2, you got to test your home, your office, your school, other buildings. Here's a hint. They're probably moldy. I'll show you some petri dishes here in a minute, but we find that most environments are contaminated. I'm here in Florida, and I can smell it everywhere I go, even in new construction. I have a friend who's a builder, walked me around some houses. We were looking at some different things. I've seen houses that are $3, $4, $5 million homes completely contaminated with mold. So expensive, beautiful, and new does not mean mold free. And here's a fact. You cannot get well in a sick environment, especially without effort. This means, let's say your SIBO doctor puts you on a gut healing/gut killing protocol, but you're in this sick building, you're going to spin your wheels because those mold toxins that you're breathing in affect your immune system. And we know in the literature that mold exposure promotes specific bacteria to grow. Things like Clostridia, which causes a lot of mood issues like anxiety. So might need to write this down. This is like your new tattoo right here on your wrist. You're going to get a cute little butterfly, a little half moon or whatever. It's going to be some organic, non-toxic ink. And you're going to put right here on your wrist, test, don't guess. Because really that's what most people are doing. They are guessing. They're not getting the proper testing done. And it's really a shame because if we do these labs, we can get you results within a few weeks. And by the end of, we're talking here at the end of July, by the end of August, if we do this right, you can have all the results you need. You're going to uncover many different answers to your problems. And then if you jump into what we're going to offer today, you could potentially have a protocol by the time your kids or grandkids are back in school. You could have a protocol that you're starting to feel better. Problem is for me, I couldn't get help from the doctors because they ran the wrong test. And that's really what I want to hit on is this idea of I've already had testing. Everything's fine. My blood test at the conventional doc was useless. The endoscopy they wanted to run was not going to help me. I had an IBS diagnosis and all they wanted to do is prescribe an antispasmodic drug. But I told the doctors, I feel better when I take enzymes. Why is that? No, you're going to hurt yourself. Don't do that. Problem is you won't get root cause medicine in a conventional office. And now, as I told you in the beginning, these labs are now paying me to teach medical doctors that want to go functional. Here's the problem, though. They're so conditioned for 20, 30, 40 years. Some of these guys are my friends. I have a lot of old school medical docs that are friends, and they'll tell you, man, the stuff that you're teaching, I've never heard of this at all. They don't teach one page about mold toxicity in medical school. So here's what the petri dishes look like. This is a case here on the left. You'll see 4 different plates. You'll see different growths. Some that look weird. The colors are weird. Some look nastier than the others. This is what we want to do in your environment. You can literally buy these things for $3. $3. And on the right here, which there's a new style. So if we run a new one, it's going to look a little bit different. But this one on the right here, this is a mycotoxin screen. This means that we're measuring the toxins that you are spitting out in the urine. This is easy to do. As I mentioned, it's non-invasive. Your children can do this, 2, 3, 4-year-olds. We test them all the time. And the toxicity you had as a mother goes to your babies. The toxicity your mother had goes to you. And so we've seen multi-generational toxicity, and we can fix it. So if your mom's crazy, your grandma's crazy, you're crazy, your kids are crazy, it could be literally this multi-generational toxicity. And we've been able to help people recover from that. And as I mentioned earlier, your psychiatrist prescribing you anti-anxiety medication or antidepressants, they're not testing you for this stuff. But anxiety and depression are two major symptoms of this level of toxicity that you're seeing here. You see ochratoxin A, gliotoxin. Penicillium makes what's called mycophenolic acid. So all these toxins are just out in the air. You don't see them because they're 50 times smaller than a mold spore. Okay, so mold spores are tiny, but mycotoxins are 50 times smaller. You cannot see these things. They're so tiny. So strategy number 3, you have to make and you have to use your protocol. Christina, I am saving this. You would like to show your husband. Yes, your husband needs to see this. So men, your wives are not crazy. The reason they could be anxious, irritable, and they don't want you touching them is because mold toxicity massively affects blood flow. So men, you got to listen up here. If you're like, okay, I've been with my wife 20 years, but the intimacy is down. I hear that every day, all day, literally 25 to 30 times a week. And here's the thing, the mold toxicity, let's go back to this slide just for a second. These mold toxins affect your blood flow. So if you, your child, your husband, your wife, if there's a cold hands, cold feet, cold nose, maybe they look pale, you can literally see mold toxicity in skin complexion. I can see it from a mile away. And I'll tell my wife, there's a piano player at our church. I love the guy. He's an amazing guy, but he's got to have mold toxicity. I just look at the way the spotlights hit him and his skin complexion. It's just like, dude, there's no way you've got good blood flow. I can just see it. I can see the lack of blood flow. And so, ladies, if your sex drive is not good, and you're like, I don't know what to blame. Like, am I bored of my husband? Is this just age? We've been together so long. I hear all these different excuses trying to just justify these sexless marriages. And maybe you're cool with that. But for the families and the relationships that they want to have that intimacy still, you've got to fix this mold toxicity. This is why I say I've saved many marriages, because when you get this stuff out, you'll see all of a sudden your libido skyrockets, your energy, your mood. You lose 20 pounds without trying. Your energy just flies when you're able to rebuild your mitochondria. But these toxins right here, they damage the mitochondria. And I'll show you on an oat test in just a second what that looks like. I usually break the protocols down into phase 1 and phase 2. So phase 1, we usually start to open the drainage pathways, make sure you're hydrated, make sure you're pooping. We try to get you on as much organic food as we can. We try to start balancing out your microbiome. We start to upregulate detox, and that's where you start to feel better, mood-wise, energy-wise, already. And then your GI distress, like your IBS symptoms, your diarrhea, your constipation, those start to calm down. And then phase 2, often what we'll do is we'll throw in biofilm, because the mold hides in biofilm, so does candida. We'll start to rotate our microbial nutrients. So maybe we put you on this herbal for this, and then we switch it to another one. We'll start to reseed your gut when the time is right. And then sometimes we'll look deeper, or we'll even retest the labs maybe a year in. So it's pretty interesting here. But bacteria growing in a biofilm, they're highly resistant to antibiotics, 1,000 to 1,500 times more resistant than the same bacteria not growing in a biofilm. Now, maybe this makes sense, or maybe this just goes over your head, but here's what you need to know. Think of biofilm as like this booger, this kind of mucosal booger in your body. Bacteria, yeast, fungal infections, mold, these things can hide in these biofilms, meaning if you just go take your antibiotic from your doctor to feel better, or your antifungal, your nystatin for your yeast infection, it likely won't work and you'll relapse because of biofilm. So this is something that conventional medicine just has not caught on to yet. Here's a crazy, seeming like a tangent, but it's not a tangent. This graph here looks at the rates of autism in children. And they need to put out a new piece of paper on this, a new graph, but this one stopped in 2010, and you can just see the rates of autism just skyrocketing since the early 90s. And then you look at the glyphosate exposure, these chemicals that are sprayed on the food supply, and they perfectly line up. So one of the things I'll teach you in my protocols is how do we detox chemicals as well. I want to show you a couple studies to make sure you know that this is legit in the medical literature. This is a study on the what are called acute neurotoxic effects of ochratoxin. So you remember just a few slides back, I showed you the ochratoxin. So we found that ochratoxin actually damages the parts of the brain that make dopamine. What does that mean for you and your kids, your grandkids? Well, if you're having issues with your drive, your motivation, your concentration, your energy, you get bored, like you're already done with me, you're already sadly bored of me, it could be low dopamine related to the mycotoxin, ochratoxin. And we can measure this in the urine and we can detox it, and I'll show you how. This looks at Alzheimer's disease. Maybe you have aging parents that already have a diagnosis of some neurodegenerative disease like this. Well, we're now seeing in these neuroscience journals the infection of fungi and bacteria in the brain tissue. So how about that? Alternaria, that's a mold. Candida, that's a big problem. Is that not crazy? Let me just say it another way, make sure it makes sense to you. We are finding fungi and bacteria in brain tissue in elderly people and patients that have Alzheimer's disease. So this idea that you just get old and develop Alzheimer's, I don't believe that it has to be that way. If we can fix this stuff, we can basically eradicate that possibility. Here's another paper, Parkinson's disease, looking at fungi and bacteria in brain tissue. These are the things we test for on the organic acids. I'll show you in just a minute, so hang tight. Candida, Fusarium, Pseudomonas, Streptococcus, all of those are being found in these cases of Parkinson's. I told you I lost a bunch of weight. Some of it was parasite related, but some of it was mold. And this was just one piece of a literature on what's called anorexigenic or orexigenic hormones and how that's affected by mold. What does this mean? Mold can make you fat. It can also make you skinny. I haven't figured out what toxin makes some people fat, what toxin makes some people skinny. I haven't figured that out yet, but we'll just say this. It's not your fault. A lot of people come to me and they're 20, 50, 100 pounds overweight. In every case of overweight or obesity, we see massive, massive mold toxin. And we've had women and men lose 50, 60, 100 pounds in some cases simply by fixing this because the mold toxin is messing up your hormones and it's creating inflammation. So Lucy, rest in peace, our Shih Tzu, she developed a tumor after mold exposure. So your pets may suffer as well. This is a good indicator that something's not right. And what happens is the mold toxin, this one here called ZEA, that stands for zearalenone. It's a very common toxin floating around in your building. If you had a plumbing leak, your bathroom leaked, your sink overflowed, your bathtub drain wasn't working, your kitchen exploded, something like that. So those toxins in those water damaged homes, they actually downregulate what's called tumor suppressor genes, meaning tumors can just go, hey, let's party. Not good. This gets a little geeky, but mycotoxins massively knock down your beneficial microbes. So you've probably heard of lactobacillus before. You've probably heard of bifidobacterium before. So good bacteria decrease when you have mold exposure. And that massively increases your risk of cancer, which is not good. There's a paper here from 2019 about autism and ochratoxin. I've seen a lot of kids that can't walk, can't talk. We see mold in every single one of them. Here's just some signs and symptoms. If you want to take a screenshot, whip your phone out, whatever you want to do, feel free to take a picture. Feel free to take a screenshot of this. But I want you to just see what symptoms and signs there are of mold toxicity. Now, as I mentioned, I've seen 3,000, maybe 4,000 cases in my practice. I do a full telemedicine practice. Evan Brand is just my clinic name. And we've tested thousands of people. Here's the crazy part. If we see 3 or more of these symptoms, just 3 or more, we can pretty much say it's mold. Now, we like to verify, we like to see on the urine exactly what we're dealing with, but if you have 3 or more of these symptoms, it could be related. So here's a case study. I work with a lot of children, probably half my practice is children now because the pediatricians are not looking at this stuff and these parents are desperate to get their kids better and not do tubes in the ears and not take out the tonsils and not do antibiotics. They're frustrated. They're sick of that system. They want something different. Here I am. So bacterial overgrowth, sick, often cognitive issues, and defiant. That were Thomas's main complaints. Now let me show you how we break these cases down. We use the GI map to show infections. You'll see here he had various types of E. coli that were too high. You'll see more infections here in the gut, like Prevotella and Proteus. On his oat test, look here, I'm going to zoom in. Remember we were talking about Fusarium? We can measure it right here. Remember we were talking about aspergillus and ochratoxin? We can measure it right here. And all you need to know is these little red H's and these triangles off the chart here. It doesn't take a genius to understand. This is bad. This is real bad. And this poor kid was growing mold because his mother, they had a basement issue where when it rained, they had flooding. And that was a very unfortunate case because the whole family, all 6 kids in the family were sick. You'll see here lots of bacterial overgrowth as well. So I'll teach you how to read these tests more in detail, but you need to know here yeast, fungal, and he had candida. Look there. I'll zoom back in. Look at number 7. You see that one? Arabinose? That's candida. Look at that. 153. What's that going to do? That's going to make a crazy kid who craves sugar and is defiant. Here were some mycotoxins. Look here, it is gliotoxin. Supposed to be less than 200. It was a 3671. My goodness. Here was the protocol we put together. We did some vitamin C. We did some herbal antifungals. We did some special probiotics and enzymes and binders. And after a year, the parent and the teachers both say he's a totally new kid. Here's the before and after. You can see for your on the left here is the old. You can see here after a year. On the right is the new one. We cleared literally all of the mold in the candida. Number 13, you'll see there a tiny bit of bacterial overgrowth, but man, we did a heck of a job for such a short period of time. That was a retest. You see we cleared the 3600 gliotoxin to 0. The ochratoxin came way down, and he's still taking binders now and feeling way better. You can see here we cleared all the infections in the gut as well. Look here at the stool test. You'll see all those infections that were high at pathogenic levels are now within range. So you may think, is this something I can really put together and follow myself? And the answer is yeah, because you're testing. You're not guessing, so you're going to get results. So you're not going to take random supplements anymore. You're going to stop building a supplement graveyard. You're actually going to spend less money and less confusion. You have concrete evidence. This is not just my opinion. This is my clinical experience. We've seen so many good things out of these protocols. And finally, you're going to find the sources of your issues. So it could be gut, it could be mood, it could be sleep. Here's my stool test from years ago. Check it out. 2 parasites, Crypto, Giardia, and I had H. pylori. And when you get this lab information, you're going to know exactly what protocol you want to implement because I show you case studies of people just like you, and I go, here's what we did to fix them. Just follow that, and you'll get better. Look at this. Here's another mess. This person had worms. They had low pancreatic enzyme function, 3 different types of parasites. I tell you, I see some crazy stuff. So what about your marriage? We talked a little bit about that in the beginning. So let me show you how mold leads to divorce. Here's how it goes. It's 6 steps. Step 1, the wife has symptoms. Step 2, there's skepticism, the spouse. Sometimes it's the women, but 98% of the time, it's those stubborn men. I don't know what's wrong with us, but we're like, you're crazy, honey. You just need to go on an antidepressant or something like that, right? So then you seek medical help, step 3. And then you end up with the financial stress. You get the bill from the emergency room because you're freaking out. You had all this pain and panic and chest pain and dizziness. You thought you were having a stroke, but turns out it's just mold toxicity. And then step 5, your sex life is gone. And then step 6, boom. It's either an unhappy marriage, it's infertility, it's cancer, it's Alzheimer's, it's Parkinson's, it's divorce. And it doesn't have to be this way. If you use these protocols that I have, whether it's SIBO, H. pylori, parasites, I teach you about binders, liver and adrenal support. You don't have to have a divorce. You don't have to have a sexless marriage. So I'm curious. I'd like y'all to throw this in. I mean, we've got a couple hundred of you here, which is awesome. I'd like y'all to just put a little comment here if you got a second. I'm just curious. Why did you watch this training? Was it for you? Was it for a friend, a family member? Is it related to your mood? Is it your gut? Is it your skin? I want to try to get just a little bit of my pulse on what your biggest complaints are. So don't be afraid. Just put a couple symptoms in. It's not like we've got your social security number. We're going to track you down and report you. This crazy lady's got anxiety. Let me know. What's your biggest thing? Is it gut? Is it mood? Is it sleep? Is it your skin? Is it bloating? What the heck is it? Let's have some fun. Okay. So gut plus mold, SIBO, gut, anxiety, lupus, mood, ME, CFS. Yeah, so mold causes chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. So that's a big one there. General curiosity. Love it. So happy you're here. We had a client yesterday, and my staff, I have another functional provider on my staff, and she sent me a message, and she said, Evan, can you believe this guy's lab results? Look how bad he looks, but yet he's feeling so much better. And so that's the cool thing. Even if your labs don't look perfect, we can always make you feel better. Okay, gut. What else? Pat, gut, sleep, skin, bloating, gut, food sensitivities, SIBO. You cleared mold, but you can't eat normally. Yeah, so food sensitivities, that can happen. Chronic fatigue, yep. Gut fatigue hormones, Crohn's and SIBO for your son. We can definitely help your son. Gut mold, heavy metals, fatigue. Wow. See, does this make y'all feel better to know that everyone is similar to you? There's only so many
Yeah.
ways the body can dysfunction. And so that's why I'm able to really help you hone it in because these issues we're looking at, they all cause the same manifestations. Yeah, so it sounds like this slide's pretty accurate here. You want to have no fear of bloating, gas, fatigue, rashes, symptoms. We all are a mess, someone says. Yeah, I know. It's the last 5 years, it's affected a lot. So I do have a long haul section in my course. I can't go too much into it right now, but we'll just say there's some geeky data there on what I can do to help you to get the
Hey,
spike out.
Evan.
Yeah, please.
Evan, can I ask you a question just to interrupt? I think this is as good as it's going to get for me in terms of my connection, but
Yeah.
I see at least three people saying that they have under body weight. And
Yeah.
how does that, have you had a lot of success with that? I mean, that's like failure to thrive. You can, it's really serious, I know. So I just wanted to ask you about that. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. Siobhan, your connection's totally fine. So all good. And yeah, so underweight or overweight, we see a lot of toxicity related to that. So yes, I lost 30 pounds. I'm not huge now, but I mean, I'm pretty strong now. Like I'm able to do like 20, 30 pull-ups. I mean, that's pretty awesome. And for a while, I was so weak. It's just not a good feeling to feel depleted like that. And I feel much stronger now because what happens is mold affects the Krebs cycle. And so this is why mold is such a big trigger for chronic fatigue syndrome or fibro, because it's affecting the brain chemicals. It's creating cellular inflammation. It's driving mast cell activation or histamine intolerance. So yeah, any issues with your mood, your weight, your skin, it's totally all related. Jasmine said low body weight, you're worried. Another person, me too. Yeah. So we need to get these labs and figure out what the heck you got going on. Remember, parasites can do it as well. So let me riff here just a couple more minutes. Hang out with me. So at this point, you have two options. You can continue doing what you're doing. You can guess and check and hope for the best, but you're not specific with your action steps. Or you can say, okay, this is the year. This is the time I want to fully commit. I want to create my health protocol. I want to fix my issues by following a step-by-step system. I'll show you how to do this. You can go at your own pace. First of all, we'll find your root causes. Second, we'll create an effective health protocol. And then three, you start feeling better. And here's the deal. This is just a small branch of my entire Evan brand umbrella. This is my way to help you all because I'm so booked out, typically 2 to 3 months. I try to see 25 to 30 people a week, and I help those people one-on-one. But to be honest with you, I've actually pulled back from some of those follow-up calls. Number one, I've burned myself out a bit. Doing it for a decade, 30 calls a week is pretty heavy. But number two is I'm getting paid to repeat myself over and over and over. And I'm like, these protocols are so good and so refined after we've done this 3,000 times. Why don't I just teach this to the masses? And so luckily Shivan's like, hey, let's get this to the masses. And so that's what we're doing today. And you can access this bundle where you'll see all my protocols that we use and you can just buy it today. This is literally cheaper than the early bird price than when we first launched this thing. So it's pretty nuts what we're about to tell you.
Well, and also I popped the information into the chat. So Evan texted me or wrote me and said, hey, Shivan, I've slashed the price. And then you made a really special bundle and that Better Home bundle or Better Home course that he's included. If that's how I first met Evan, by the way. I was researching about how to have non-toxic home and he popped up in my feed and I was like, whoa, this guy knows what he's talking about. Then Candida Summit, blah, 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 all these summits he's been on with me and his Candida Summit, of course, is what I was referring to. And so we've done this a couple of times, Evan. I think this might even be our third year. Is that possible? And this is really, I really appreciate you cutting the price. So
Yeah.
it's really priceless considering everything, but I'll let you keep going. I just wanted to say thank you. And I put the
Yeah.
information in the chat.
Yeah, my pleasure. So yeah, Shivan's put the link there. It's betterbellycourse.com, and then you'll be able to use the coupon code Shivan, which I'll show you, but you'll get an extra $250 off. So I'm just a fully transparent guy. I'm not like this weird marketing guy. I don't really have time to be a good marketer, to be honest with you. I'm just a practitioner who wants to help people. And so when I first launched this course and created it, it was on New Year's Eve of 2020, I guess, going into 2021. I update and add new case studies and new protocols as I see necessary. And we launched it at 799 bucks. And we had that night 300 people enroll immediately. And I was like, holy smokes. Like, did I price it too low? But people loved it. And so then we played with pricing. We threw in some lab testing at one point. And at one point at the peak, it was 1,800 bucks for the program and a stool test. And now, honestly, it just partially just feeling bad how expensive everything is right now. I mean, I went to the store the other day to get some organic berries because my middle daughter, she just loves raspberries. I literally came home with one grocery bag of berries and it was like 80 bucks. And she'll eat those berries in like 2 days. Like it's insane. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to do something. And so I'll show you the full page in a second with the exact pricing, but it's literally cheaper than my early bird price years ago before all this inflation hit. So this is the Better Belly Functional Medicine training. You do this at home. You could click through, you take quizzes, you go through these lessons, you'll have a blast. Module 1, we talk about all the different gut health foundations. I give you a protocol that you can start with out of the gate. In section 2, we talk about Crohn's, we talk about ulcerative colitis and autoimmune gut issues and case studies and protocols for those. Module 3 is all about yeast, candida in children, candida in your pets, and how do you balance candida long term. Module 4, we talk about acid and enzymes. We talk about PPI and other medications that are affecting your digestion. This is a great testimonial, but I won't bore you with it. I give you protocols including nutrition sheets. So I'll tell you about what histamine foods you should be avoiding. You should go lower histamine and when you should do that. Module 5, that's where we talk about the thing and how it affects the gut. There's a whole thing on that. But SIFO and SIBO case studies, lots of different protocols there. Module 7's parasites and worms. And then what do you do after you kill the bugs? What do you do next? We talk about it there. Module 8, you have a lot of case studies. You have one-on-one calls where you'll actually be able to sit in on a call with me and a client, not live, it's pre-recorded, but you'll be able to see and look at how do I analyze these things in the moment, and then how do I make a protocol to fix it? And we can help you facilitate the labs. They're not included in the enrollment, but my office can get you the best pricing on these labs. We mail them to your house. You send them back. We send you the results. You go back and jump in your course, and then you can see how to fix it. You get a ton of audio and video, printable templates. You get quizzes, and then a la carte paid consults are always available. Once you complete the course for nutritionists, you get a lot of continuing education credits. We work with several different nutrition organizations. They love the course so much. You get massive continuing education credits for this. But overall, you're just going to have a protocol. You're going to have a health protocol that's going to fix your root causes. That's another great testimonial. You could check it out. We'll give you a copy if you want it. But long story short, she just said here that she tested a year ago and she finally got the answers. The amount of pathogens she was dealing with was a huge mountain, but I had the confidence and knowledge to gain her health back. So there we go. As he says, test, don't guess with your health. Okay, so that's the home course. I'll teach you about EMF, mold, off-gassing, chemicals, safe bedding materials. That's an awesome course too. And I'll teach you about chemicals. We do a lot of geeky stuff in there. I'll teach you about EMF measuring, how you can measure EMF like from your Bluetooth, your Apple Watches, your AirPods. They're killing you. Hint, hint. You'll have better energy and motivation. You'll have more freedom by the time you're done with all this. You'll have more information if you want to help others. And can you do all of it? Yeah, you can. You go at your own pace. You get access forever. This is not a subscription. You get protocol sheets forever, and then you can have paid support if you want it. So I'm just like you. I started out, I wasn't always a board certified holistic nutritionist. I was not always a functional medicine practitioner. I was just a guy who was suffering in college. I was in business school. I couldn't get better. Doctors sucked. I was frustrated, and now I'm better. So this is a $2,000 value. But yeah, waking up with a good mood and a calm tummy is pretty priceless. So $14.97 was the price. And the Healthy Home course sells all day at $3.99. So it's about $2,000. Right now, it's $9.99. So you're saving like $897 technically. But I'm gonna this is my middle finger to inflation. So we're gonna just do this because we've never done this. Like this is cheaper than my launch price. But if you do the coupon code Shivan at betterbellycourse.com, you'll get $250 off. So that's going to bring you down to what's that, 749? So that's pretty nuts. And you get both courses forever. So my staff will put you in this Better Belly, or actually, so you'll get in Better Belly immediately, and then my staff will manually put you into the home course. Since this is a bonus, we got to manually put you in there. So it might take a day or two, but we'll get you in the home course too. So you're going to have both of them for 749 bucks.
That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Evan. And then you also added something for us, which is if everybody or anybody orders by 4:30 Eastern time today, it's the sexy class. Tell me about that. Tell me that. We
Oh,
call it an in-webinar bonus, meaning if
yes.
you decide to purchase it like within that time by 4:30 Eastern time. Lori, you can't pay with HSA. I totally appreciate that thought, but it's an option. It's too divergent in terms of costly. But thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
Let's talk about stacks.
let's do it. Let's do it. So, and oxytocin has a lot of benefits for inflammation as well. So, I mean, this idea of like an oxytocin deficiency is pretty huge. So much so that would you believe pharmaceutical companies are actually trying to get involved with this rather than just like cuddling your partner or cuddling your dog. You know, they want to just give you oxytocin as a pharmaceutical. So that's pretty interesting. I've been looking at some of the studies coming out on like these oxytocin nasal sprays and stuff. But anyway, I don't have a slide. I thought I did. I don't have a slide to show it, but it's just a logo and it's called Sex Life Restoration Masterclass. And it's everything I've learned working through all sorts of intimacy issues with thousands of couples. I give you some strategies about not only just increasing your desire, but from a hormonal, biochemical, gut functional medicine perspective as well. So this is like sex therapy meets functional medicine. Boom. Those bad boys intertwine and spoon each other, and you're going to be able to improve not only the libido, but also your performance as well. So men that are potentially having issues with premature ejaculation, men that have erectile dysfunction, men that maybe have a partial erection and then they lose it or they just can't maintain. Some of the herbs and some of the functional medicine strategies that I'll teach you about nitric oxide production, hypercoagulability, blood health, all those protocols in that sex life class, it's literally worth the price alone. So it's kind of crazy that you could get all of that and that as well. But that's just my way of trying to help you all because I know that if you don't have that part of your relationship, it's not fun. So I've been with my wife 15 years. So I'm happy to say that we still have a great life together because we're doing these things to keep our body moving, our blood flow healthy, and it's a great part of life. And so I don't want you to miss out on that.
That's a very nicely said summary of it, Evan. So that's just for people who wanted to purchase before 4:30 today Eastern time. And Evan's team would be fulfilling that. You know, sometimes we do those, and I say, email me the receipt, proof of purchase. He'll know who orders by 4:30, so he'll be able to get that to you as well. So it's the Better Belly course, it's the Healthy Home course. And if you need to wait and not get it by 4:30, you just won't be getting that class you just talked about. But this, the Better Belly and Healthy Home unto itself, is remarkable. It is remarkable. And use that coupon code Shivan. So, Evan, let's put some love into the chat for Evan because that was an amazing presentation. I really, that was fantastic. Thank you. And welcome to the Residence Inn. Here you go.
Hey, Residence Inn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, it was
it's hard.
great.
Yeah, it's hard to travel. You know, a lot of hotels. You know, I remember when I was staying in a hotel when we evacuated after mold. We had to go to like 3 different hotel rooms just to find one that I could sleep in. You'll see like water damage and stuff. It's kind of hard. So I always try to Google newest hotels in XYZ wherever I'm going, and new doesn't equal mold free either. So the coupon
Right.
code Aaron, the coupon code is Siobhan. So you go to
My first name. Yep.
betterbellycourse.com, betterbellycourse.com. You'll hit join now. You'll go to the checkout page. You'll see a little box coupon code, put in Siobhan. You'll save $250, making it literally cheaper than my early bird price years ago before inflation hit. You were getting a discount on the pre-inflation price. So I hope you appreciate that. This is
You
cheaper
do.
than 2 hours of my clinic time, but yet you're going to be getting literally 60, 70 something lessons, videos, audios, templates, downloads, protocols. Like it's amazing. The testing, you can get a full functional medicine workup for less than $1,500, depending on your location. If you're international, if you're in Canada, the price changes a little bit with shipping. Some of that we have control over. Some of it we don't. Some of it, FedEx, UPS, they have these expensive rates to ship to Dubai, which we've done before. And so you can always contact us through the course. So once you're in the course as a student, you'll be able to get access to my staff. We are incredibly quick at helping you with the logistics. And so if you jump in and you just want to dive into the data, maybe you've already had some testing, good. But if you dive into the data and you go, you know what, I need that test run, all you got to do is contact us, office@evanbrand.com. office@evanbrand.com. You can contact us there, or just through your portal as a student, you can send a message to us and we'll help you. Aaron asks, is this appropriate for practitioners to support patients? Yeah, I have probably 20-ish% practitioners, doctors, nurses, coaches, yoga teachers, nutritionists in the course. Probably 80% are just people, lay person that wants to learn and heal. You get lifetime access, Lori. Yes.
Yes, which is so important. And he does update the course periodically, which I really, really love too. And that's, I only know 3 people who do that. I'm one of them. And so then it's really, really nice of you, Evan, because a lot of times, this information is going to hold its own for so long, but knowing that you are going to be updating it periodically with things that you find to be, essential is really fantastic. I really
Yep.
appreciate that. So, we're going to wrap up in about 10 minutes, but I just wanted to say, if this calls to you, of course, this is the perfect opportunity for you to do it. I think a lot of us are facing a lot of uncertainty right now in the United States. And I feel like us taking control of ourselves and our body and our integrity and our internal authority, which is what I think this course really represents, is very, very empowering. Marilyn, he just talked about how much the tests can run. So you want to repeat that for Marilyn? And can I have a test in France? And how about the UK?
Yeah, we have international distributors in London, so we can easily test you in the UK. I've got, who knows, probably 100 plus clients in the UK now. So France is easy. I think there was another one about Italy. We can do Italy. We've done Spain, Norway, Finland, Sweden, Switzerland. I mean, we've done a lot of testing internationally, so I got a ton of clients that way. Ballpark for an American in the US, ballpark if you do the full functional medicine workup. So that would include OAT, MyCo, GI map, give or take 1400 US, but we can tweak that. We can remove the myco, we could add chemicals, we could add hormones. So there's a lot of levers that we can pull. That's just the general labs that we run, but we could add Lyme testing. I mean, you talk about that in the course, heavy metals, we can add that. And so on average, you say $300 to $500. Carrie, Australia, yeah, we got tons of Aussies in the course as well, and tons of clients. We have an Australian distributor as well. Let's see
I
what
just
else.
turned off my camera because I was making people seasick. So there you go.
That's okay, Shivan. There's a couple other
Okay.
ones. One
All
person
right.
here said all tests are not done in New York. We have some hoops that we
Right.
can jump through to get you tested in New York. So just join and we'll take care of you. We've got plenty of clients in New York, and testing is fine. There's a couple hoops we got to do.
Yeah, not his first day with that for sure. For sure. And this is, Evan and his team are totally committed to getting you what you need. And also, you don't have to do all the tests right away, right? Like if you're like, okay, I'm just going to do the stool test right now or the oat test or whatever, you can do this at your own pace, which I know he's already said, but I just want to reiterate that. So like if you're thinking the discounted price on the course and then the test on top of that, do one at a time. Do one every 6 months or whatever, and you'll still be learning the protocols as you
Yeah.
go. And what's also cool is a year from now, you're going to be able to go back and you're going to be able to see how much progress you've made and still be able to address that progress through the protocols.
Florida area
Florida
on
area
test.
on
Easy.
tests.
That's
Yes.
easy.
Easy.
A lot of stuff we ship out of Orlando. So it's quick. Florida's a piece of cake. Anywhere in the US, piece of cake. Canada's piece of cake. I mean, honestly, at this point, doing it this long, even Ecuador's a piece of cake. We did have a final mile delivery done via donkey A person literally had a donkey bring their lab test kits to their little village in Ecuador. I'm not joking. So, like, we're going to
Whoa.
go to the ends of the earth to try to help you all get these labs. And here's the deal. Even if you just want to take advantage of the course content and follow the protocols, I will admit I've had some people that didn't test and they did guess, but they still got great results. So I'm not going to tell you to do that. I'd like if you could do the labs, but if budget only permits you getting access to these three different opportunities, the home course, the Better Belly, and the Sex Life Restoration class, if all you've got is the budget for that right now, just do that. You can start implementing these protocols and you're not going to get hurt. I'm not putting you on pharmaceuticals. We're not screwing up your mood. We're not screwing up your hormones. We're improving you in all aspects. Evan Brand is the podcast name, Evan Brand Show. It's on iTunes. It's been there for 12 years. There's like 500 episodes. It's all free, 30 million downloads. I hope you love it. Give me a 5-star review if you like it.
Okay.
Maryland, private
Um,
one-on-one calls. So right now I'm at $5.99 US. I have another practitioner who's a bit cheaper than me. We do one-on-one consults as well. evanbrand.com. You can go there and we're always happy to help you.
hey, Evan, what about genetic testing? Do you have any protocols for that? Do you feel like it's necessary? What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, after looking at hundreds of them, it's a waste of time. Everybody has some
Yeah.
level of methylation defect. Everyone has some issue with toxicity and detoxification ability. So I kind of just assume everyone's walking around on crutches. And what I mean by that is everyone's got something. And so we try to design protocols for sensitive people, people with MTHFR genetic defects, COMT defects, and the protocols work great. So I'd say save your money.
Okay. All right. There you go.
Same with food sensitivity testing as well. I saw a lot of comments here about food sensitivities. Here's the deal. I used to run those on everybody, and I don't anymore at all. Here's why. Because when you have mold affecting your gut bacteria, affecting the permeability of your gut, you're going to react to everything because your immune system is so irritated from this toxicity. You're going to have a lot of false positives. What does that mean? Well, then you feel like you're going to starve to death because everything's red, 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 alert, danger, danger, danger. So then you develop this eating disorder because you're down to 5 foods, and that's not a way to live. And so I think that the food sensitivity tests create more fear, and fear is not good in these cases. And as we rebuild the gut, we clear the toxins, we improve the infections, we balance the gut. These quote food sensitivities, they disappear. I could eat anything I want right now. I could go out to a bar tonight, drink a beer, which I don't. I don't drink beer. I barely do alcohol ever, like a sip a couple times a year. But I could theoretically go drink a beer, eat some chicken wings with hot sauce, and be totally fine because I've done so much work on healing my gut. I don't recommend that, but I could do it.
And that's really important to know. Like they say, you have freedom back, you have your life back. Do you remember when you felt well? I mean, seriously, sorry if I'm going to look like I'm all wobbly here, but I remember what it was like to the before and the during and the after. I feel great now. And I know what it's like to really feel like, I wonder if I'll ever feel well again. And that is a scary, scary feeling, which is why I do this work, which is why I connect you to people like Evan. So we're in the comments. Please join us for this, Evan, for this. And if you do join by 4:30 Eastern time, which we'd like to give you a little buffer afterwards, you would be getting that. I'm going to call it the better sex class.
Yeah,
There
here you
you
go.
go.
Here's a
Okay.
little sneak peek. Here's a little sneak peek at it. Sex Life Restoration Masterclass. There it is. It's 33 minutes of some really juicy stuff. You'll love it. That masterclass alone is worth $600. I mean, who knows? I don't know what the value you could put on fixing your sex life, improving your libido, your energy. And this is not just about the act of sex, okay? When I say sex life, I'm talking, do you feel sexy? Do you feel confident? How do you approach jobs? When you walk up to the hotel to check in, do you feel attractive? Do you feel good in your skin? That's what it's about. It's not just the act, okay? So I want to make that clear and just go here, betterbellycourse.com. You'll see the sales page here. You can join the program. You can look at all the different modules. You look at all the different bonuses you get. See here it says $9.99, which is our sale price, but we're going even deeper. You go right here, gift card or discount. You put Shivan right here, okay? You hit apply. Boom, your 250's off, $749. What a ridiculous deal. less than 2 hours of my clinic time, and you get access forever. So here's the sales page. You guys need to take advantage of this. I swear to you, it's way better than going and buying the iPhone 16 this fall.
Agreed. Agreed, Evan. All right, let's put some love into the chat for Evan. We are going to wrap up, and I wanted to say thank you all so much for spending this time with us. I really appreciate you. I respect you all so much for doing this research, for being your own health detective. If this is sounding like it's something that's a good fit for you, by all means, I don't think you will ever regret it. I really, really don't. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here right now on my vacation, having a lot of wobbling around here, sharing this with you. It is so, so important. And I really believe in what Evan does. I've had people write me after they've taken the course going, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have found him if it wasn't for you. Or I've loved him on the podcast. Thank you so much for the discount, etc. I think you're going to be in really great shape. Okay, last thing, Peter wants to know, do you use Cellcore products in all your protocols? At all?
Yeah, we do talk a little bit about them, but I'll be honest, over the years, I've used less of them. I've just found it to be a little generic. So, but we do talk a little bit about that. So, yeah, you'll see that in the course as well. So, Debbie, thank you. We've got Becky, Katrina, Christopher, Shelley, Werner, Christina, Marilyn. Thank you all for being part of this. I appreciate you all spending time with us on Thursday. It's almost August. Make sure you enjoy your summer. The heat and the humidity will eventually be over, and then you'll be complaining it's too cold. So try to make it good. Drink some electrolytes. I make a professional electrolyte formula. And you know what? I'm going to pick, Shivan, whoever. This will be a fun thing. Whoever is the first to get into the course, I will send them, and my staff will figure out who it is because we've got all the timestamps. I'm going to send you a free bottle of my professional electrolyte formula. It's called Hydration Essentials. Our company, Order Roots, makes it. It's an incredible electrolyte with ribose in it, which is really going to boost your energy. It tastes delicious on a hot day. There's nothing better for you and your kids. The first new student will send you a free tub of this stuff, and you'll love it and get addicted to it. And so, yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet of you, Evan. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's a really special bonus just for us. Okay, we'll send out the replay. Actually, Evan, can you send me the copy of the recording to me and Lisa, and then we will get it to the right people over here on my team, and we'll send it out tonight. Okay. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you all so much. All right, I'll see you on the other side of the little weekend, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks, Evan. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.